Weren't these documents presented in the FEC? Why didn't they allocate funds for you to offset some of these debts?
Yeah, that is the point I was trying to make. You know, in a normal budget, there are a lot of competing, issues. We are talking about the budget for the whole 36 states and Abuja. And so, even today, when the Ministry of Niger Delta budget is about 60 billion, some people are saying the money to the Ministry of Niger Delta is too much, because some ministries are actually getting 20, 30 billion. But out of that 60 billion that is even going to the Ministry of Niger Delta, over 50% of that fund is going to the East-West Road. Because my idea and the wish of Mr. President is to ensure that that road is completed. Because it was a promise, it was a presidential promise to the people of the Niger Delta. And so why we have not been able to get enough funds is because the East-West Road, like any other project, is one of those projects that are competing for funds. In that we have so many roads in this country.
If you had since 2009 to, that's when the road was handed over
given to the
Ministry
of Niger Delta.
Since 2009, and funds have been short in coming.
Yeah.
I mean, you talked about alternative source of funding. Did you explore that?
Yeah, that was the point I was trying to explain. Now, over the period, we have realized that there is no way the East-West Road can be completed if we follow, the normal, annual budgetary funding of projects. And so today, as we speak, I am working with the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Justice to see how we can get some external loans, to see how we can complete that project, because it is a presidential, promise that was given to the people of the Niger Delta. That's number one. And I also, because of the need to complete that road, I also made a case. Look, my brother, in 2009, when oil production went down to 700,000 barrels per day, this was the minister who led a team of federal government officials to go around all the militant camps. I led that team that led to the movement of the present president to move to the creeks, that led to amnesty. I went that for the interest of Nigeria, for the interest of the people of this country. I did that. And I said, now today we have over 2.6 million barrels per day. And I made a case. I say, now a developed Niger Delta means that there'll be peace in the Niger Delta. And once there is peace in the Niger Delta, oil production will increase. And when oil production increases, then there will be enough revenue that will go around in taking care of the needs of the people of this country. And I said, look, take 900,000 naira, 900,000 barrels from 2009 to date. I said, why can't we just take 5% of that difference and inject into the Ministry of Niger Delta so that we can develop the infrastructure in the Niger Delta? Because it's very, very key, and the point must be made. And I'm happy I'm saying this thing to everybody in this country. Excuse me 1 minute. That we need to develop Niger Delta. A developed Niger Delta is good for the people of this country. When Niger Delta is developed, private intervention will come in. There will be a lot of jobs. There will be peace. And once there is peace, oil production will increase. And when oil production increases, there will be enough revenue for the people that will go around everywhere.
But how would you describe your function, sorry, Chairman?
Yeah.
How would you describe your duties, your relationship, alongside that of the NDDC? How do you guys draw the line in terms of the jobs that you do? Or are you following the same master plan for the Niger Delta?
Now, the Ministry of Niger Delta, one, is an intervention ministry, and two, is a coordinating ministry. What we do is to coordinate all the agencies and government departments that are one thing or the other to do in the Niger Delta. The ministry, the NDDC, is more of a community-related intervention agency. It works directly with the communities. We do more of interstate and regional projects. That is the difference. And we coordinate all the things. Today we are working on a framework. We've been able to get approval to have a Niger Delta Council that will be meeting at least once in a year The idea of that one is to see that all the stakeholders in the Niger Delta are brought together, like you have the Council on Education and Health, come together to look at what government has been doing. Where are we coming from? Where are we now? And where are we going? And so we'll be able to now see how we ensure that projects are not duplicated, funds are not wasted. Well, a lot of funds are needed for the development of the Niger Delta. So in simple terms, the NDDC is more of community-related jobs. They intervene directly. But as a ministry, one, we do coordination of all the agencies, departments that are doing one thing or the other in the Niger Delta. And two, we go into doing interstate and regional projects.
All right.
And thirdly, more importantly, is that when we had NDDC, we never had a minister that was speaking in cabinet on what was happening in the Niger Delta at every given point in time. Today you have a ministry and you have a minister. And so every Wednesday, council is briefed on what is happening in the Niger Delta, the situation in the Niger Delta. And so council now gets a better view of what is happening. They don't wait till when there are problems before they know what is happening. The Ministry of Niger Delta, we have coordinating offices in all the states. And so anytime I'm going to Federal Executive Council, I'm fully briefed about what is happening in the states. And I go to council on every Wednesday to brief council on what is happening, what we need to do. And that is why we have the support of all ministers at every given point in time.
Today, NEMA says the flood has killed about 363 people and 2.1 persons are displaced. How is your ministry intervening in this matter?
Well, you know, I just came back from a trip, and I also described the flood as a tragedy. You know, Mr. President had an emergency meeting, called a cabinet meeting, discussed. And the president and his Federal Executive Council agreed and approved over 17 billion to all the states to intervene directly so that the states can also add part of their resources to see what they can do. Now, as a ministry, we have agencies that are directly involved in providing relief materials, like NEMA. And so, but we also see that most of these things are not going around. Enough is getting to the people because of the large number of people that are involved. And so we also intervene in one form or the other in the Niger Delta states. And the distribution is going around now by officials of the Ministry of Niger Delta in providing some relief materials to the people. But more importantly, we are working with the state governments, the 9 state government, to see how these people can be resettled immediately after the flood. Because the most critical thing is how will life be to these people after the flood? Because most of the houses in the rural areas, are made of mud houses. And so a lot of them have been washed away. And so we are working hard with the state governments, with other agencies to see that serious attention is given to these people after the flood. It's a very pathetic situation. It's a very sad story. And the government is doing everything to see what can. You can imagine what the president is doing, going around from state to state, discussing with the people, consoling with the people directly to see what we can do. And government is on top of the situation. And I think that, God help it, we'll be able to overcome it immediately after the flood.